business. You can actually earn $2,000 plus weekly just by being a solopreneur as the owner of a lawn care business. Okay. But obviously, if you're a solopreneur, you need to automate a lot of your processes. And since I actually started my business and marketing career with our local business, which is a lawn care business, I definitely, and it's, that time of year in Indiana when the lawn care season is starting and we're getting all of our processes and estimates put together. So I definitely wanted to, do a series on this. So if you are someone who's interested in making a career change and starting a lawn care business, or you already have one and then you're trying to figure out how to automate your processes so that you can save time and money, or maybe you are an agency owner and you're looking to help other lawn care business owners to automate their processes, this is a great training for you. But it doesn't necessarily have to be lawn care. It can be any business. It's going to be the same processes, okay? But today, what we're going to talk about is a lawn care management system that I use to send invoices, to manage my estimate requests, and, payments and all of those things. And it's actually free. So super cool. Tomorrow we're going to talk about traffic strategies that actually work. I know a lot of people, they start out, handing out flyers and things like that, and it just doesn't work. Okay, I've done it. I totally did that too. And then, of course, Friday we're going to talk about the Q&A. If you missed day 1 and 2, definitely go back in the playlist on YouTube, or if you're in our group, you can go to the replays and check that out. We talked about, basically, I gave you a bird's eye overview of my entire customer journey throughout our lawn care business. And yesterday I talked about getting started with the basics of your business, like choosing a color palette, choosing a logo, creating a business phone number, and all of those things that you need, okay, and bank accounts and all of that. Okay, so let's dive in to today's training. Okay, welcome back. I do see that Maria is here as always. Thank you so much, Maria. Nice to see you. Hello, Linwood. Linwood's always here too. Hello, hello. Okay, so we are talking about Yardbook, and if you're unfamiliar with Yardbook, it is like I was saying, it is a free lawn care management system. However, until maybe this past year, because I'm so familiar with Yardbook, I actually was using it for my agency, and I think that you will see why when I show you, how it all works. And I definitely did on Monday. I walked you through our actual processes, but I wanted to today show you kind of everything that it can do, because you may decide that you want to use it for another business. Okay, so anyway, this is Yardbook. Like I said, free account. As soon as you log in, this is what it's going to look like. Okay. You have your dashboard here, which is really, really helpful because it helps you keep track of, how many new customers are you getting? How many estimates are you sending out? How many new invoices did you create? And then how many payments are actually received. So what I like to do is after I send the invoices on Friday, I will actually go and check the date range and then see, how many, do I have any missed payments and things like that. Also aging invoices and all of that. But again, like I was saying, we do not put a person on our schedule unless they have a stored credit card, but there are times that the credit card will fail. And then we have reminder campaigns that go out to them. All of that is done within Yardbook. Okay. So you also can click here for your customer report, which is really helpful at the end of the year, invoice report, payment report, expense report, and all of these things. Okay, so they really, as far as user friendly and providing really everything that you need for your business, they really provide all of those things. Okay, so you have your customer tab here, and most of these things can be customized. You can actually choose what tabs you want to have here on the side, and lots of things that you can customize and do. But here is where all of your customers are going to come in. Okay, so when they click that link to get the quote request, they're automatically going to be entered in your CRM. Okay, so it's like we have with the high-level tools that we have in our Vision program. As soon as they fill out the form, they're going right into the CRM. It's the same process here. Okay, they fill out that quote, and then they go right into the CRM. All right, you have your jobs here. So when someone gets an accepted quote, and again, you can go back and watch that on Monday if you want to see what that whole process looks like. But as soon as they do that, you want to create a job. Okay, and of course, it's better to create a recurring job if it is recurring, because then that will add it to your schedule, and you don't need to think about, okay, well, every Monday, Bob needs to be on the schedule or whatever, because when you create a job, you're just choosing the customer. Of course, we don't have any customers, so it's going to make us add it. But all of this information will already be added in there when they do the quote request. Okay, so there's no, used to be before we started using Yardbook, we just had a simple contact form. And every single time someone wanted a quote, we had to, we would get the email, and then we would have to go to Yardbook and enter all the information in, and then we would have to do the quote. And it's one of those things that just takes a lot longer, especially when you're kind of picky like we are, because our schedule is literally already full for the season because of our previous customers that we've confirmed want to come back. But we only have like 9 spots in the whole schedule. So when we get all of these quotes, if we had to manually enter them in, and it just would take so much time. And this is the busiest time of the year for lawn care businesses. This is when all the quotes come in for the season, and then the customers usually stay. So this is, if you're going to spend, advertising dollars, definitely this is the time to really start getting your name out there and trying to get quote requests, because people are calling this time of year. Okay. So estimates, and again, I showed you this on Monday. Here are your estimate requests. What I love about this is not only does it look really clean, it shows your logo and all those things. It's really easy to add, a line item here, and I'll talk to you about building up your catalog. So you can just click there to add an item, and then you can choose whichever one. Like maybe if we wanted to install sod here for this person, we could choose that, and our price would already show up. Now, this is really important when you're building your catalog, is that you want to figure out, for example, mulch. Okay, mulch, it costs us about $35 per yard, per cubic yard, and so we charge $100 per cubic yard because of the amount of time that it takes us and the cost and all of that. So I know, no matter how many yards, my husband, he goes and does the estimate, and then he comes back, and then I do the actual sending out the quote. But I know when he comes back to me, for example, if this was a sod install, he would say, okay, this property measures 9 cubic yards. Okay, so I would just type in 9, I choose the item, and then I'm going to type in 9, and then it's already going to know the unit price, because I've built the catalog to say, for every cubic yard, it costs us we charge $100. So I'm just putting in the quantity that he's given me, and then it will default the price, and then now I can just send this out. Okay, so what used to take a really long time, if you've ever tried to do an estimate for like a mulch job or landscaping or something like that, it can be very overwhelming, because you just don't know in the beginning. But I will tell you, at least where I live, our average price for mulch installs is $100 per cubic yard. Nobody really talks about pricing because it can vary so much per area, but that is about the average. So then when you go do a mulch job, of course, you want to make sure, what does it actually cost you? And there's so many variables, but usually if you're an experienced lawn care business owner, what your cost, or what you need to charge per cubic yard of mulch. And so really this is how you want to build it all out, so that you can make this process much, much faster. Okay. So when you send out the estimate, and again, I talked about this on Monday, you're going to send it to the customer, and they're going to receive it in the email. And it's really cool because it has like an orange button in the email, and it will say, click here to view your estimate. And they can actually click a button to approve it. And then, of course, I talked about how you want to, when you send an estimate, you want to immediately send them a store credit card on file, and make sure you're communicating in both emails, that the estimate is in a different email, or the credit card to store your credit card is in another email. Okay, so make sure that in each email you're telling them that. That will definitely clear up a lot of confusion. All right. So, of course, you have your invoices. Now, invoices are jobs that have already been done, and now you need to invoice them. Okay. So, we have the estimates, which is kind of like a proposal. And then we have the invoices, means we've already serviced your lawn. Now we're going to create an invoice and we're going to charge you. Okay. So, all of that can be kept here. And then, of course, if you want to accept credit card payments, you do need to connect your Stripe account. And I talked about Stripe yesterday. It's free and all of that. And then, of course, your bank account. So you want to connect all of that. And when you connect your bank account and your Stripe account, what that allows you to do is every time you create a new customer in here, a new invoice, or they store their credit card, that's really where it begins. When you send them that invoice to store, or their link to store their credit card, it's going to actually put it in Stripe. So they're going to be a new customer in Stripe. When you run your invoice, then you're going to have just a little button that says, charge credit card on file. And then when you charge that, that goes to Stripe, and then the charge shows up in Stripe. And then of course, that's how they're going to pay, right? So anyway, and then of course, you set Stripe up, and then it will send to your bank account. Okay. So it's going from here with the store credit card. It's going from here to Stripe, and then from Stripe to your bank account. All right, so chemicals, if you're a lawn care business that does chemicals, this is really great as far as, keeping track of all of those things. There's it's basically a whole specialized business to do chemicals, and there's a lot of things to keep track of. So if you do chemicals, this is a great option for you. Also, equipment, this can come in really handy when you are, especially if you have multiple trucks out in your, with your team, or you want to keep track of the maintenance. What I like to do is create like a reoccurring maintenance, like to remind us of, oil changes and things like that. And, because there's so many things going on, you can't just keep everything in your mind. So I definitely, I like to set that up. I mean, it's not something that we really have to focus so much on, but if you have multiple trucks, multiple blowers, multiple mowers, and all of that, you definitely want to keep up on the maintenance, because that will, obviously it'll make your equipment last longer. So definitely helpful to keep track of all that. Okay, so now the site map here. This is really where you see the power of Yardbook and all that it can do. Okay, you can import your customers here. If you are moving from another platform, you can view all your customers, view properties, send bulk messages. Bulk messages is something that's a premium feature. I think it's $35 a month for premium. It's so worth it. I mean, it's so crazy. It's so awesome. Because there are times when there's like a rain delay, or maybe your truck broke down or something like that, and it's in the shop, and you need to let all your customers know. Or maybe you want to send an email or a text message. You can do either one. Maybe you want to send that out the day that you are servicing their property, just to say, hey, just to let you know, we're going to be on your property today. And they also, because sometimes, especially if you have like the waste management and things like that, that the customer needs to take care of, or you're going to charge them, they definitely want to know when you are coming. Okay. You also have some other, I definitely don't want to spend all day going through all of this stuff. But you have your area for jobs and estimates and invoices and chemical applications, all of these things. All of your reports are housed here. Employee pages, they can actually clock in. You can even track the employees. There's a mobile app that they can use, and you can assign different routes to different people. Here is the catalog, though, that I wanted to show you. If you build your catalog out, this is a very time-consuming process, okay? But building this out will save you so much time. And honestly, I wouldn't say just go in and start building all these things out, because as you start doing estimates and you realize, what your actual costs are, you'll definitely change it a lot. But if I was to go to, let's say, lawn care and maintenance, okay? I want to click here to edit this, or I can, of course, create a brand new one. Okay, I'm just going to give it a name. I'm going to choose, is this a service or a product? It's lawn care, so it's going to be that. Now, actually, let me go back to one that is actual, I think, mulch, because let's see if they have, I don't know, landscape. Okay, so maybe we want to do this one. Okay, this is a better example. So landscape, all right. This is kind of what I was talking about with the estimate. All right, what you need to do is figure out what are your unit costs. All right, so like I was saying, it costs us, if we're talking about time and materials, it's going to cost us $100 per cubic yard. Okay, so I'm going to put in $100 here, and then I'm going to say per cubic yard. Okay. And then, of course, I'm going to put a description. Now, the description is so important. You guys all comment below. What did I say is important? The description. The description is so important. You can say again, how important is it? It's so important. And here's why. We did an estimate one time for bush removal. Okay. Now, to us, removal of a bush means cut it down, at the root and then remove the whole bush. Okay. To this customer, to her, it meant ripping out the tree stump. And I totally get it, because even when she was asking me about it, I'm like, wait, I guess that would be removal, but removal means something different to different people, right? We had just a couple years ago, we had a big tree removed from our backyard. And I told the guy, I want the tree removed, right? Well, he cut it down to the base, and he left the root. And I was like, well, I wanted it removed though. And he's like, well, we don't do that. That's a whole separate process. You have to get a stump grinder and all those things, and it's an additional charge. And I wasn't happy about it. But if if I'm the customer and I'm thinking that removing a bush is with the stump, then now I'm going to be extremely unhappy, because that's not what I expected. And then when I'm doing my quote request, I don't have the opportunity to say, here's the actual scope of the job. I want the root removed, and then I want the bush removed. Now that's the whole thing. Now, if I knew all of that information as the customer, I could call multiple lawn care companies and then get an estimate for the whole job, instead of getting an estimate for what I thought, or choosing the service that I thought I was getting based on price and other factors, and then not getting what I thought in the beginning. Okay, so this is so important. And this can be relative to lawn care business. It can be relative to web design. It can be relative to social media, or any of those things. You need to specifically say, what are we doing in this job? Okay, so if this is bush removal, we're going to say, we will cut all of the bushes at the ground level and remove all lawn debris. Okay. If we're removing the stump as well, we're going to specifically say, we are going to remove the entire bush, including the stump. Okay. That is so important. It's like with social media, right? We're going to post one time a day on these specific social media platforms every single month, right? We're going to do every 30 days. We're going to post one post a day. Now, if you just say, I'm going to create 30 social media posts for you, that means to the client that that you're going to schedule it as well. I mean, you just never know. So you always want to be so clear that it's almost like you're laying it out to a child or someone who has no idea what the process is, because you want to make sure that all of these things are in writing. So if I'm doing this landscape, soil, mulch, and rock delivery, maybe I want to put in here, I mean, of course, includes, let's type in, includes materials or not includes materials. That's another thing, because maybe they're thinking, okay, well, this includes materials, or it doesn't, right? Who knows what they're thinking? All we need to do is just basically spell out very clearly what the job entails, and it never fails. You even as specific as you can be. When you go to let's say this, okay, includes mulch, or you might even want to say standard wood mulch, up to 2-inch layer. You might even want to say standard wood mulch, comma, red black, or I cannot type, red, black, or brown, because, and again, here's why this is so important, because there are multiple different colors. Some of them are more expensive. There's rubber mulch. There's like all kinds of other things that that you need to know about, right? And you want to just be very clear, okay? So especially if you are providing it, you want to say. Now, you may want to say, and here's another thing. You may want to say that you need to provide the mulch, right? So this price does not include the mulch. You may want to say that, delivery is an extra charge, that it doesn't include delivery, okay? So many things that you really want to think about the whole process. And sometimes it just takes someone being really unhappy for you to learn that lesson. But definitely, if you ever have someone like really unhappy like that, you definitely need to revise your processes and make sure to come back in here and put in the description exactly what it is that you are going to do. Okay. Honestly, this is the part that really it takes just experience and learning, and usually unhappy customers. But the scope is so important. Just like, for example, here, this is a great example of this, because a lot of times when you do mulch jobs, you go to the property and they have, old mulch there, or it's like piled up really high because every season they've just dumped new mulch on the property. Well, you have to make it look right, you have to dig all that stuff out, right? So what do I need to include in here? Okay, includes removal of I don't know, you want to say like weeds or something like that. But you get the point, right? You just want to be very, very clear. Are you going to remove that? What is the end result that they're going to see? Are you going to, if you're laying mulch down, are you going to lay down a fabric barrier? Is that included? Is that extra? All of these things, again, you want to think about what is the customer expecting, and what is the job that you're going to do, because when you're doing these quote requests, whether it's, again, whether it's web design or whether it is, doing mulch, you just need to make sure that you're listening to the customer and that you are providing the solution they want. Now, if my husband goes and, this person here, they want mulch, but they're like, and I want to make sure that there are no weeds growing. I don't want to see any weeds for like 3 years. Okay, first of all, that's unrealistic. But if they were saying that and being very adamant about that, then the quote that we would want to give is the one where we're like spraying the emergent, the weed killer. Or we're laying the fabric down, that we're digging up the ground because we want to make sure that no weeds are coming up from the dirt, things like that. And that's obviously going to be more expensive. That's basically like it can turn from a 1-day job to a 2-day job and completely eat up all your profits if you do not quote this right. Okay, so it's really, really, I can't stress enough. We have actually done $1,000 mulch job before and only made $10 because we did not do this right, and then we had to just eat it because it was a customer service issue. Okay, so and when I say that, we just mismeasured. We were just starting out. We just mismeasured. We needed a lot more mulch than we thought that we needed. And so we didn't want to go back to the customer and say, hey, we really need more money, because it was actually our mistake. So we decided, let's just buy the mulch. Let's finish the job. Let's make the customer happy. And she was actually our customer for about 4 years. So, yeah, you have to balance all those things out. Okay. So that's my speech on that. This also, because, and I'm driving this home because it's so important. This is also really, really important, because if you get to this property, okay, and you're doing the mulch and you do not quote to do, removal of the weeds, or you don't say that you're going to lay black paper down and all that stuff, or, and that's why you can say does not include all these things that the customer may be thinking. You may want to add that, and you can just simply add that by doing, maybe star does not include, whatever. because this is going to go on the description of the estimate and on the invoice. And you guys, this part is just, I keep driving it home so much because this part is so important. But if you get on this job, then they're going to say, oh, I thought you were going to lay black paper down. Well, if you have on your invoice does not include, or that it does include, now you have some recourse and the customer is less likely to be unhappy with you because it clearly says on the estimate. They can go back to their email and pull up the estimate. It will clearly say does not include black paper, does not include removing of weeds or digging down. Basically you can say include standard wood mulch up to 2-inch layer, and then maybe you want to say laid on top of existing flower beds. Okay. That might be something that you want to do to eliminate that. Okay. So anyway, that I just wanted to drive that home because, again, so important. All right, so let's talk about some other things now. Okay, so when you build out your catalog, I was telling you that's why that's so important. And then when you're choosing your estimates, you would just go, like, let's actually save this one. And let's go to an estimate, and we'll just pull up that previous one that we created. And then let's go to add line item. And now I can go to, I think it was this one. Oh, it was this one here. So what I would want to do is pull up my catalog, okay, because we determined that landscaping, soil, sand, mulch is going to be $100 per cubic yard. Okay, so I'm just going to add that item here because this is the job I'm talking about. Since this is already created, I'm just going to look at whatever my husband measured, and he's going to say, okay, this property is going to be, 10 cubic yards. Okay. So now I already know it's going to be $1,000. This is totally done. I don't need to do the math. I don't need to look up mulch prices. I don't need to figure out what's our cost per hour. How long is this going to take? I don't need to look up any of those things because I've already figured out my unit price. Now I can just multiply by 10, click actions, send invoice to customer. Okay. Now, when you send the invoice to customer, first of all, we don't have any invoices or customers listed in here, but you want to go to, when you first get set up with Yardbook, of course, you want to set up your user profile. I just did this for training purposes, but you also want to go to your settings, okay? This is where you're going to modify your public profile, which you can see there. We have a public profile, but I never update it. I'm really bad at that just because all of our efforts are slim to none with lawn care because it just runs itself. We get plenty of customers. It's very low maintenance at this point. So we don't even use this. I don't think I've ever gotten a customer from this. So I wouldn't say spend a lot of time on that. But again, it's just another way, I guess, that someone could see you online. You also have your invoice settings, okay? So you want to choose here, where do you want to start? Usually you don't want to start at, 0, because then customers are like, wow, you're a brand new business. I don't know what that means. And then you have your invoice style. You can choose, double window envelope with pay stub. You can choose double window envelope, or, basically choose whatever you want to. But here's the important parts here, okay? Because these are the comments that are going to be on your estimates, okay? So it says here, by default, information you put here will show up in each estimate you create. Terms, disclaimers, reminders. You may still customize this field within each individual estimate if necessary. So here, maybe you want to put instructions on how to accept their estimate, what the next terms are. Maybe you want to put a link to the billing and policies page or something like that. You also have default invoice comment, and then default estimate message, default invoice message. You can customize all of these things. You can choose your payment term here. So is it going to be due upon receipt? Now, what I do, because this is for invoices, I do due upon receipt because, like I was saying on Monday, we make them store a credit card on file, and then every single Friday we generate all the invoices, we charge all the credit cards, and then we send them the receipt. Okay, that's like an hour process that it takes us to do everything. So it's immediately, I mean, they're actually getting the receipt at the same time as they're getting the invoice. So, that's why I just do on receipt. You can choose whether you want them to have that little button I was telling you about approving the estimates. You can choose to have that on or not. You can actually make them sign too, which is another reason I thought it was cool when I was using it for my agency. And when I used it for my agency, I got a lot of compliments, honestly, on it about how cool people thought that it was. And again, it's just one of those things that make you stand out and make you, more professional. So, estimate display is alias. This is where you may want to change it. Instead of where it says estimate, you can change it to where it says quote, proposal, which when I was using it for my agency, I did use proposal. Because that's more agency terms. You can also select these here, like calculate and display invoice due date based on payment terms. Do you want to charge a $3 convenience fee when customers choose to pay for invoices online? Since I do this every single week, I don't like to charge them, because if you think $3 times 4, that's $12 a month that I'm charging them just for credit card processing. You can also make them pay the whole processing fee if you want to, but I don't do that. I would rather just bill that into my cost, because then customers start asking, well, can I, save money by paying by check, or can I bring you cash? And no, we're not doing that. That's a whole other headache all on its own. Hide tipping option from customers. Now, this here, before we used to auto charge, we actually made a lot of money from this, okay? Because a lot of people would tip us when they were paying their invoice. However, we decided to go against that and do the auto charge, because when you use this tipping option, you're sending out invoices and you're relying on them to open it up, get their credit card out, pay their invoice, and it just takes forever. And even though, we don't get tips anymore, sometimes people will stop my husband and give him a cash tip. But even though we don't do this anymore and we don't get that extra income, it's still so much better, and the time that we save, because we don't have to hunt people down and, keep contacting them, and then we lose money, okay? Because we're losing money in time, but we're also losing money because they're not paying their invoice. So you can also choose to automatically send an email payment confirmation to customers when they pay online. Sure, we could do that. Automatically set up past due amounts on invoices. So what this means is you can choose whether, like, maybe they didn't pay last week and you generated a new invoice. It will add that total on, and it will say at the bottom past due. What I don't like about this function is that when it does that, it will actually still keep the original invoice. So what happens is now you have two invoices for this customer, and one of them is the actual price, and then the other one is double the price because it added on that past due amount. So however you have your business set up, you may want to use it or not. You can automatically CC yourself when you send email estimates and invoices, which I do like to do because especially in the beginning, because it's part of communications, like, hey, it would let my husband know, like, I did send this estimate so that he didn't have to. You can choose to hide taxes, which I usually do. Hide quantities from printed invoices. I do that as well, because a lot of times people will say, well, I actually only have 2.75 cubic yards and not 3. So can we reduce that? And it just eliminates headache. Hide line item pricing from printed and emailed invoices. We talked about that. Hide the total amount section. Display customer phone number. So you can definitely go through here. You can choose any of these. There's also one disable customer survey link. Okay. Now what happens is after they have paid their invoice, it will go automatically to a customer survey. Okay. But I do not want to do this because I don't want Yardbook to keep all of my customer reviews. I want Google to keep my customer reviews. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to save this here. And I'm going to show you over here how I would do that. Okay, so I'm going to go to, this is inside our Vision account. You want to go to Reputation. and you're going to go to the little gearbox here, and this is your review link. Okay, now this is not just the Google review, like where you go to Google and search for your lawn care business. This is the link that has the review gate. So if someone was to give you a 3-star or below, it wouldn't go right to Google to allow them to do that. It would contact you so that you have the opportunity to not only save that customer's experience, but also address that, and then keep them from leaving you a bad review. So what you can do is actually copy this, and you can go to domains, and you can click here to add a domain. Okay, so I'm sorry. You want to go to URL redirects. All right. And I purposefully waited to this training to show you how to do this, and then click add direct. Now I only have one website here connected to my account. So what I'm going to do is connect my bartlettlawncare.com, and then I'm going to do / and then reviews. So what I'm doing is basically I'm creating this link, bartlettlawncare.llc.com / reviews, and I am adding that link that we just copied. Okay. So now when I type bartlettlawncare.llc.com / reviews, it goes to our review widget. Okay. So what I want to do with that is I want to go back here to settings, and you'll see here the email templates, okay? Every email that you send out, you should have your billing processes and your reviews at the bottom, okay? Because how is there a better way to get reviews, right? You already service their property, so you want to definitely ask them for a review, especially this one here, okay? This email here will go out. You can set it in the settings that I just showed you, but this email here is going to go out every time a job is marked completed. So the team goes out, they service the lawn, they take before and after pictures, of course, and then they're going to hit complete. And then it's going to, if you have it set up, it will send them this email, like, your job has just been completed, have a great day. And then what I would do is, if you feel we deserved, for this purpose, we'll say, we would appreciate a review of our services. If you don't mind, click here to give us some feedback. Okay, and then we're going to do Bartlett Lawn Care llc.com / reviews. Okay, so now that looks really professional because it shows our website domain. We're also sending them back to it's just the professionalism, right? So when they click here, it's going to go to that review link. Okay, so let me copy this, and let me see if I can open up a Google window here, and we'll paste that there. And then you can see it pulls it up, and then we have the review gate. Okay, so this is not actually Google yet. Okay, this is the review gate. So this is Bridget Bartlett. She's wanting to leave a review, and then we can leave a review there. And as long as it's more than 3 stars, it will automatically go to Google. If not, it will go to our system, and then it'll notify us, and we'll be able to address that. Okay, so much, much better than just sending them straight to Google, because you do want to know, if a customer is not happy, you do want to know that. That's really important. Okay. So add credit card on file. This is really important too, because this is where this is the email that's going to go out when, if you have them store credit card on file. So you may want to say, thank you for your estimate request, or the last step is to store a credit card on file, and then maybe you want to put your billing terms, and we charge every Friday, and it's secure, it's through Stripe, and right? And then you have some other emails that you can customize. Okay, so this is very, very helpful, because this is the automated part, right? This is where you're really going to set up your processes, because every time an estimate email gets sent, you don't want to have to type out all of the information. You just want to have a nice streamlined process process so that it's literally you just click to send the invoice and then you click send and then you're done. Okay, you don't want to have to do this every time. If you want to use these auto tags here, to fill in so that this is filled in for you. Like, for example, it says hello customer name because we're not going to type that in every time. Here's an estimate you requested. Please contact me at, and then company phone. And you can see the other options here. And to use these, all you have to do is copy, and then you can just paste them here. So if I wanted to do this, I would just paste it there and then save, and then it will fill in that information when the email gets sent out. Okay. So that is definitely, setting these up will definitely save you a lot of time. You can also go to reminders. Where is the, somewhere in here is, I think it's email templates, or maybe we need to go here to, somewhere there's reminder campaigns. I don't want to spend a lot of your time on it, but you can set up payment reminders so that it will automatically send, like I was saying on Monday, if there's, if an invoice is unpaid, you can send out those payment reminders automatically and say, hey, we didn't receive your payment, and da-da-da-da-da, okay? The next thing, and this is the most important thing I wanted to show you, is the Get a Quote button, the Pay Now button, and then your Yardbook Selling Suite button. Okay, if you decided to use this, if you click here, you'll see, like, let's copy this here, and we'll open in a new window. This will allow customers, as long as they're in your system, it will allow them to put their email in and then find their account. Okay, so that's definitely helpful. You can, and all that is just a link that you can add to your website. Okay, you add a button that says, selling suite, whatever you want to call it. This one I definitely use. It's the Pay Now button, because customers can go there and they can look up their invoice or estimate and the amount due. They can pay their invoice that way. Again, it's just another thing too that looks professional on your website. This is absolutely the most important one. Okay. This is the Get a Quote button. And for this account, this is the link that we would use. So this would just go. And if you looked at my website, you see, this is what we use. Okay, so if I'm looking up Bartlett Lawn Care LLC, you see my website. When you click the button, it goes right here. Okay, so that is this button right here. This whole process here, as soon as they enter their information, it goes right into Yardbook. Okay, so you have all of the customer's information in the CRM of Yardbook as soon as they fill that out. Okay, now you have all of these selections here for your services, so you can see the whole process here. You have the first page where they can request their estimate, select the service that they want, and you can hide any of these. Like, we don't do aeration or seed and sod. We do cleanups. No fertilization, no irrigation, no tree care. And when you select that, it will remove it here from your link. Okay, so it won't actually show. If you do want more custom options, you can click here, and it is a premium service, but you have to contact them here. Like it says, contact our support team when you're ready to get started. And what they'll do is go in and then manually change that for you so that it actually shows the services that you do. Also, they will change the amount, the frequency. Like, for example, I showed on Monday, we only provide weekly. So, but if you wanted every 2 weeks or monthly or every, 2 months, and if you're doing chemicals, that would be definitely something relevant for you. Of course, we have the option to measure the lawn, and I showed you all that on Monday, how that works. And then when they fill out their contact information, and I want you to notice too, this is a basic funnel, right? You have the, it's kind of like a survey funnel. They are not asking, they're not putting in any of their information. So by the time they get to this part, they've already gone deep enough in here that they're going to enter their information. Okay. And that's kind of just like surveys. Like, you see them on Facebook all the time. Like, what kind of spirit animal are you? And then you go through and you make all your selections. And then at the very end, you're asked for your phone number. And that's because that is a higher converting lead gen process than just immediately asking for the contact information. So it's definitely a way to increase conversion. So they're just going to do that. They're going to choose all their options, and then at the end, they fill out that contact info. It goes right into Yardbook, and then it sends you an email saying that you have a quote request, and then you just go to your you can click the link in your email, and then it will take you right to the customer's profile where you can proceed with the process, which I showed on Monday. Okay, so all you have to do, create a simple website just like we did. Like you can see, my website is really nothing extraordinary, but it's incredibly converting because it hits all the main factors, right? We are answering all the questions here. We are allowing them to pay their invoice, which honestly most people don't do, but it's just, again, something to kind of position us like, hey, we have our stuff together. We have these options. We have reviews. We have this phone number that goes right into our CRM. They can contact us here. And then, basically here's some reviews. Here's our work and all of these things. Okay. We also added a button, just like the review widget I showed you, a button here that says, want to leave us a review. We would be honored. Click here, and then it goes right to that review gate link that I showed you. Okay. So these are the absolute wonderful functions of Yardbook that I love. Okay. Now, as far as extracting your list, all right, Yardbook does it only syncs with Mailchimp. Okay. Now, Mailchimp is, in my opinion, one of the worst email providers. I can't stand them. But what you can do, Mailchimp is free to use for customer lists below 2,000. Okay. So here is a little workaround. Integrate this with a free Mailchimp account. Have it gather your emails for you. Okay, this is really easy to install once you create your Mailchimp account. You just want to paste your API key here, and then it connects it. Okay, so have it collect all of your emails for you. Then go to your Vision account. Let me find where I'm at here. Okay, go to your Vision account and go to your contacts and click here to upload or import your contacts. Okay. That is going to, you could do that once a week. You could do that, once at the end of every season, however you want to do, and upload them there. And then that way, not only will it match the people that you already have in here. For example, if someone contacts me here and it goes into my CRM and then they actually become a customer, what you can do when you export those files is you can add tags. Are they a current customer? Right? So lots of things that you can do. And then, of course, what you want to do, and when the next season starts, is you want to send all of those people emails, okay? Because maybe they contacted you at the beginning of the season for a quote, and then they ended up going with another lawn care company, but maybe they totally regretted it because it wasn't a great service or experience. And then they're like, oh, I'm going to go, you just want to be in the forefront of your mind, right? So if you had 2,000 people, you definitely want to send them all this time of year an email and say, hey, would you like us to do, an estimate request for you? Or maybe you just want to send them one already. So super easy to set up, but that is what I would highly recommend because you don't want to have multiple places. And if you do decide to use Mailchimp, it's just an additional cost. Okay, so you could eliminate that if you are in Vision and you're using all the tools and this is where your website's housed and all that stuff. Why would you incur an additional cost when you don't really need to? So that is Mailchimp. Let me check my little list here. Okay, that is all that I wanted to show you today. Hopefully you learned something from this. It kind of opened your eyes to some things that you could do for your own lawn care business, local business, or if you're an agency, you could even niche down and really drive this whole system to lawn care business owners, because how many lawn care business owners need a system like this? Okay, they need a website. They need to capture those leads to start gaining a list, and they need Yardbook. Now, if you are an agency owner, you can go to them and say, look, I'm going to provide for you a website template. We're going to help you build a list. We're going to, integrate a lawn care management system that's totally free. So not only, you're not just providing a website, okay, you're providing a website, a CRM, a whole lawn care management system. You're literally doing all of this, setting them up for success. Okay, so this is why This is so powerful as an agency, but also if you are a solopreneur, if you are a one-person shop, you need to automate these processes. Otherwise, you're going to be cutting your own throat, for lack of better words, because if you are spending all day long doing estimates or missing estimates, you're losing money. Okay, so you need to definitely find ways to be more efficient and automate your processes if possible. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. If you want to become a member of Team Vision, you can go to bridgetbartlett.com, choose the plan that's best for you, and I will see you all tomorrow, same time, same place. Go make your vision a reality. Bye.